Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube. And have you heard about this new series called Stranger Things? Oftentimes here on this channel we'll explore the language of symbols and subliminals and synchronicities. There are some very interesting underlying messages taking place in Stranger Things that apply to a lot of the subjects we cover here. So I want to get into the stranger side of Stranger Things here in just a little bit. But before I do, I just want to talk about the show purely from the perspective of a sci-fi geek, so I can really appreciate some good science fiction, some good horror, some of it mixed. And I gotta tell you, just from that perspective, Stranger Things was absolutely amazing, in my opinion. This is one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. There's very little I could say bad about this show as far as the production value, the story, the effects, the characters, the acting. I mean, seriously, man, they nailed it. They nailed it. There are a lot of occult realities that have been realized specifically over the last several years in all forms of media. The occult reality that's really being pushed here in Stranger Things is the as above, so below paradigm, or the right side up, upside down paradigm, the inverted world. And in this case, we're talking about as above, so below. And that phrase originally came from the Emerald Tablet, and that embraces the entire system of traditional and modern magic, which was inscribed upon this tablet in cryptic wording. As above, so below is the esoteric meaning of this particular symbol right here. That's the hexagram, and it's comprised of both a downward and upward triangle. So the downward triangle represents heaven or the higher power, and the upward triangle is the earthly triangle, which represents man and the physical plane. So together these symbols represent as above, so below. So I like to use multiple sources. In this case we're looking at the Encyclopedia Satanica. Right here it says as above, so below. The phrase as above, so below is sometimes used by Satanists as a rallying cry in reference of the reign of Satan in hell and his presence here on earth. And yet another example of this inverted world paradigm, this as above, so below, comes to us through scrying mirrors, or the Black Mirror. This concept was explored in a fairly recent film called Oculus, which was all about the Black Mirror, the portal between this world and the one below. It's also interesting to note, and another one of those connections to the occult, that the Oculus Virtual Realities symbol is of course the all-seeing eye. It's also interesting when you take a look at your iPhone 2 is a black mirror, which raises the question, is this a form of scrying when you're on your phone and you're on the internet or in the so-called matrix, the virtual world? Not to mention that many of our television sets nowadays are designed just like this. And what does this look like to you? Once again, a black mirror. It's interesting to see this as a form of scrying, that this is your so-called entertainment. And we know that most forms of entertainment are meant to control you or to program you. So those are just a few examples of this idea of as above, so below, really all around us. And of course it's in our media. We're constantly seeing TV shows and movies that deal with this concept. Which brings us back to the series Stranger Things. This same concept of as above, so below is huge throughout this entire series. In fact, they call the other side the upside down. And this is one example of what the upside down looks like. This is one of the characters that's able to go there. And when I first saw this imagery in the television series, I immediately thought back to something else. I'd seen this somewhere before. This is from a Scarlett Johansson film that was called Under the Skin. It just came out over the last year or so. So the skin they're talking about, of course, in this is Scarlett Johansson's skin, but what's underneath it? But she would lure these men to this place, right? This blackness, this space, and they would get absorbed into it. Another occult element that we find in here, this right here is a monster, and this monster is supposed to exist in the upside down. And then we find out later this is a real occult ritual practice. But in this series, this monster from the upside down can be summoned with blood, through a blood sacrifice, if you will. So to me, this is no longer just some weird monster that exists in some parallel dimension. This is literally a demon being summoned from the upside down. Through the darkness, through the scrying mirror, through the black mirror, as you see the reflection right here. And what really sealed the deal for me on this whole concept and what I'm trying to show you, this is one of the last episodes. A couple of the kids are at a high school and they meet up with some bad agents. So they're in this hallway, there's nowhere to go, and it looks like the kids are about to get caught. So there's several dead bodies laying on the floor here. What I want you to notice is that symbol that these dead bodies are lying on, because at one point one of the kids says, blood. They realize that portal has been opened and this demon is coming in because of the blood. So they suddenly realize that this blood is going to call in this demon through a portal. And this is a higher up shot. These guys are actually standing on that symbol I was just showing you, and there's bodies on the floor underneath them. There's a paw on the wall behind them, and that's where the portal is going to open up. I'll show you that in a second. So what's most fascinating about this part right here is you have the blood sacrifice. They're calling in the demon through the portal. This symbol right here is the diamond. The diamond is a pyramid in front of a reflecting pool. And this is one of the most common signs for as above, so below, or the inverted reality, the inverted paradigm that we see everywhere. And then the demon comes busting through that wall. Because, you know, over the last few years, this symbol became really popular, right? And many of us at this point, if you've actually been looking into this stuff, you realize that Jay-Z and a lot of these higher level artists, so-called Illuminati tools, right? They're well schooled in the occult. They know exactly what kind of symbols they're putting forth and what kind of messages they're putting out there. Hidden though they may be, not too hard to find. And this one right here was one when people were saying, oh my gosh, it's the Illuminati pyramid, right? I mean, I agree. It goes a little bit deeper than that, but what I thought was interesting is the whole time Jay-Z and other people who were flashing this, celebrities or whatnot, were always saying, no, 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 it's the diamond. So even right there, they were telling you the truth. It's the diamond. The diamond is the pyramid in front of a reflecting pool. This is a good example right here. It's the pyramid in front of a reflecting pool. Whether that be a black mirror or whether that be a body of water, this is as above, so below. The inverted reality, which is the same thing you're seeing right here. The upside down, the other world, the demons there, calling the demons in through blood sacrifice. So that's what I wanted to show you, folks. Once again, all of these occult practices, all of this esoteric knowledge, all of these mysterious symbols, all this stuff is popping up more and more in our popular culture. Has been for many, many years now. And this certainly is in no way saying that the people that made this are occultists and understand this stuff. They very well could be. It's hard to tell sometimes. So sometimes people will just use symbols and themes without realizing exactly what it is they're doing. Sometimes they place it in there on purpose. But that concept is there. This is a very popular series. It's just another example of how these occult realities are our reality now. It's everywhere. Thanks for checking out the video. Take care out there, and I'll talk to you real soon.